Okay, so welcome to tonight's Kleeneze Training webinar. As you can see, hopefully from the screen there, tonight we're talking about supporting your new team members. This is one of a series of 8 training webinars that I run. As you can see there, we're up to number 5. The first couple are just kind of getting started, all about getting your catalogues ready, putting them out, building your customer base. So the first 2 or 3 is more the retail side. Last week and this week is more the team building side, and then the next 2 or 3 after this are more about how you can grow yourself. You know, one of the big things about the Kleeneze business and the most successful people, they don't just spend time building their customer base, they spend time building their own skills. So that's a really important section there. But tonight is all about supporting new team members, and this is what we're going to cover quickly. Firstly, understanding a bit about the numbers involved in recruiting team members, so I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. The first 7 days, which are really important, anticipating early problems, helping new team members keep track of where they're going, what progress they're making and so on, which is useful for both them and you as their sponsor. Their first meeting, and something that I find really useful, if you're the sort of person that keeps checklists, and even if you're not, I recommend you have some kind of checklist to go through with your new team member. So that's what we'll be covering. Should take us 20 minutes, half an hour or so. Feel free to type away any questions. I'll try and answer them if I go along. If I don't, I certainly will a bit further down. Natasha's just said the sound has gone. Can I just check? Can anybody else hear me okay? Can I just have a quick show of... Yes, you can hear. Oh, sounds okay. Okay. Tasha, I think it must just be at your end. Sorry about that. You probably can't hear me saying that. So I'll carry on. Hopefully Tasha can catch up with the recording if she can't fix the problem at her end there. So, you've got a new team member. This is where your business gets really exciting. But it's also where a lot of the hard work begins. Because one of the common things you'll hear if you go to training at millionaires and local opportunity meetings is that your success in Kleeneze, and especially in the team building, will be in direct proportion to the amount of frustration you can deal with. Those people like Bob Webb, John Hawkes, Gavin Scott, they're very successful, but I can guarantee they will have had to deal with a lot of frustration over the years. And just remember, one of the things that you often hear of people having huge teams, but you personally don't need to recruit 1,000 people to have a successful business. You only need 5 serious people to build a huge business. Because the way Kleeneze works is obviously you find people. Then if you find somebody who's serious and they want to start building a team as well, they will find people, and just by the nature of that growth, your business will grow like mad, and you really only need 5 serious people, and that's what you're kind of looking for. And you don't necessarily find people who are serious at the beginning. Sometimes they turn into serious people by the support you give them, and that's kind of what we're talking about. So, when somebody joins the business, the aftercare and support that you give them is the biggest impact that you can have on the success of them. Now, a lot of their success will be down to their own disciplines, their own hard work and so on, but the care and support that you give them is the biggest impact that you can have on that success. So if you've gone to all the time and effort to find the leads and do lots of follow-ups and to find somebody, you want to look after them. Nurture them like a new baby, that's what somebody said to me. But I talked earlier about the numbers game. You have to understand that many distributors will leave Kleeneze. And so just because you bring somebody into the business and they leave doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing something wrong. As long as you can say to yourself that you did everything you could to support them, then that's as much as you can do. So, keep in touch with people. Constantly communicating with people keeps people inspired. And what you'll find is that your leaders, the people who are really motivated and wanting to succeed and wanting to get on in the business, will keep contacting you as well. Because communication, as it says there, is a two-way thing. So, quick question for those of you who didn't see this last time around, or for even those who did. can I ask how many times you think you would call your new team member, say during their first week, their first 7 days? Feel free to type away any suggestions, any thoughts you might have. Daily, says Simon. Yep, half a dozen times from Glenn. Daily, 3 or 4 times from Dave. Yep, 7 times from Tony. Yep, okay, so good variety there. All sort of pretty good, I would say. Personally, I would try to call them every day. Now that's not always possible, and obviously it depends on their situation and your situation as well. But the reason for calling them every day is that you're just kind of building a bit of rapport with them. And it might not be, you're not calling them saying, have you done this, have you done that, what's the next step, have you done... It's just kind of building a bit of rapport, showing them that you care about them, that you're there to help, and that showing them that you're always there for them, so that if they have any questions, they don't feel uncomfortable contacting you, because they know that you're contacting them regularly anyway. So it just makes them feel that they can contact you. Yeah, good point, Colin. It's only a couple of minutes. I'm not suggesting you haven't spent an hour on the phone with all your new team members every day, because they'll soon get sick of the sound of your voice. So, just as a rough idea, this is what I kind of go through. So, I would try to call them every day. The first day is simply something, you've just done the sign up the day before, and I normally just say, look, I've just sent you a welcome letter with a bit of information in there. Your catalogues are due to arrive tomorrow. Have you come across any questions so far? And mostly they haven't. They're waiting for the catalogues and that before they start to unpack everything. But generally they don't have any questions at that point. Then the next day, the second day, I go through what I call a getting started checklist. Sorry guys, my phone's ringing there. Oh, they can leave a message and I'll call them back shortly. And in my getting started checklist, it's just a very brief checklist, just kind of trying to get an understanding of what they want out of Kleeneze, why they joined, what their initial goals are, and pointing them towards some little training videos, such as these, for example. Thank you, Dave. It's not a lead. I recognise the number. Yeah, so just kind of starting to provide a little bit of structure and starting to get them to think about the disciplines that they'll need to go through to be successful in the business. So the next day, that's normally when I would sort of just check that everything's arrived okay. Have they got their catalogues, their day slips, is everything in the catalogue? Have they got any questions from the starter pack, all those sorts of things. And that's normally when they might have a few questions, because then they're starting to think about, where do I put my catalogues out, and how do I put my packs together, all those sorts of things. Then the next day, normally on the third day I'm asking, have you worked out when you're going to put your catalogues out? So if they then say, yeah, I'm going to put my catalogues out on Friday, I'll make sure I call them back on the Friday after they said they were going to put them out, just to say, how did that go? And I always say, well done. It's really important to encourage people, and just to say, that's fine. Some people can only get 100 catalogues out because they've got other commitments. They don't have the time to do it all. Other people would put all 200 or 250 out. As long as they're doing the best they can, which certainly they should still be doing at the beginning, because they're hopefully full of their initial enthusiasm, then you should congratulate them on that and encourage them. And then towards the end, after that, it's really just asking, did you have any questions while you were putting them out, that sort of thing. And then when they're collecting their catalogues back up again, I always ring them up again just to say, how did that go? And don't forget to go back for your stragglers, explain a bit about that. And then hopefully after a few days, maybe not after the first pickup, but maybe after the second pickup, they might need some help putting their order in. Putting their order in online is fairly simple, but if you've never done it before, like anything, it can feel a bit strange. And then, the last one, obviously it probably wouldn't be the day straight after that, but once they do put an order in and you've explained to them when it should arrive, then I always just ring them up to make sure that it arrived okay, so they can check that everything was in the box that they were expecting and so on. So it's really just it's not kind of prescriptive in that you have to say this on every day, but it's just giving you the chance to catch up with them, giving them the chance to ask you any questions, and just so that you're kind of building a little bit of rapport, and you get to know how they work, and they get to know how you work, which is really important in with a team member and their sponsor. So the next thing to think about is there are lots and lots of typical problems and errors that can occur at the beginning if you're not prepared for them. So if you can anticipate those and prepare your new team member for them, then that will just save them and you a lot of heartache. So things like make sure their photo gets sent in. If they didn't do it at the time they registered, if they don't send their photo in after 28 days, then their account gets put on stop and they won't be able to place an order. And you don't want to be kind of rushing to get a photo sent in and getting your account taken off stop if it's just coming up to period end and they're hoping to hit their 30-day challenge or their 10% or something. And just talking a bit about the fact that it does rain and that pickups are very up and down, especially at the beginning. You will get some pickups where you get next to no orders, other pickups which are much better, and you just have to accept that at the beginning it's a lot more up and down. And you will, we all have grumpy people that throw the catalogs away and feed them to the dogs and whatever, and there will be people like that. So if you can prepare them for that, then it's less of a shock when it does happen. Make sure that your new team member has got your names, and also I'm a big believer, give them the names and introduce them to your upline, so that if you're not available, or if they see a name mentioned and they think, oh, that's somebody in my upline, I could go and have a chat with them. It just kind of makes them feel a part of something a little bit bigger, rather than it just being them and you as the only ones that they know about. Make sure they're aware of the next local open evening, because getting along to local meetings is a great way to kind of expose them to other people in the business and introduce them to other people in their area that are successful in the business. Make sure you explain the steps about building a customer base. So the thing about going back reliably and good customer service and all those sorts of things are really, really important. Obviously there's a webinar that I run which is about building a customer base. So if you're quite new to the business yourself and you're not 100% sure about the best ways to build a customer base, then feel free to watch this webinar. As you are going through building your own customer base, you'll be able to explain it more to team members. But if you're quite new in the business yourself, then feel free to just point them at the webinar based on building a customer base, and that will give them a good start. And just making sure that you're talking to them regularly. So when their kit arrives, after they've done the first drop, after they've done the first pickup, helping them to place the first order, all those sorts of things. Okay, so keeping track. One of the things that I always try to find out from a new team member, I don't just sort of say, okay, off you go, put your catalogs out 2 or 3 times a week, let's see where we go. Hi Dave, sorry your question there. Yeah, I'll show you where they all are at the end of this one. So, understanding why did they join Kleeneze, how much are they looking to earn. At the beginning, obviously it will vary and it will change, but most people have kind of got an idea of what they would like out of the business. It's also important that what they're hoping to achieve is realistic. So if somebody comes in and sort of says, oh crikey, yeah, I've just been made redundant, I need £1,000 a month to pay my rent or my mortgage, but I've only got a couple of hours on a Saturday morning really, then it's maybe not realistic for them to do it that way. But if they come in and sort of say, yeah, well, I'm really looking for 50, maybe £100 a week fairly quickly, and you can show them, okay, make sure you get your 250 catalogs out twice a week, then you've got a great chance of getting that really quickly, then I can set their expectations of what they're expecting to do. Because if they were, again, just thinking, well, I might just get 50 catalogs out on a Saturday morning, maybe pick them up on a Wednesday afternoon, then it's going to take them a lot longer to earn the kind of money that they're hoping to earn. So it's important to do that with them, and then keep track. Just say to them, did you manage to get your catalogs out? Were there any problems? And we all know that we lose catalogs at the beginning, so if you say 250 catalogs a week, then if they put 250 out, they might only get 220 back the first time, where they need to go back for stragglers and so on. So so keeping track of what they're putting out. Explain to them the bonus system. So obviously the key bonuses at the beginning, the 30-day challenge, which is a fantastic way to replace any catalogs that they might lose at the beginning, which everybody does. Explaining about the 90-day challenge for bringing in new team members, just to getting an extra bonus. and then the 10% as well. And a lot of people can get the 30-day challenge, and then the 10% either in their first or second period if they work really hard. And that's just an extra £50 for them, which is great sort of extra bonus. So make sure they're aware of that, but also make sure that you track it for them, because they won't know when they first start off. They won't have a clue about bonus points and all sorts of different things. So you need to keep track of that and just explain to them in kind of simple terms at the beginning. You need an extra £150 by Wednesday at 9 PM. You've got 4 days. Let's just get all your catalogues out and back in again, and that will get you an extra 250 catalogues or whatever it might be. So it's important that you keep track of their kind of targets, especially at the beginning. So as I said there, the 30-day challenge, the 10%, the 90-day challenge, those are the 3 main targets at the beginning. So make sure you're aware of their dates and what their bonus points are. Keep a track of your PSG, if you like, so you can see what they're doing, what orders they're putting in, and so on. Meetings and trainings. I'm a huge believer in the fact that everybody who wants to be successful in Kleeneze should be attending local meetings and trainings. So these webinars are a great start. They're great for information, but actually also I think if you can get people along to meetings where they will meet other people, I'm absolutely amazed at the number of times you have somebody new in your team, you will explain something to them and it doesn't quite seem to stick with them, or they don't quite understand the way you talk, explaining it or something. You go to a meeting, they start chatting to somebody else who says exactly the same thing, and just because of the way they say it, it clicks, and suddenly the new team member changes the way they're doing something. And it's just, just different people click with different people. So if you can get your team members along to meetings, then that will make a huge difference to their successes. Another thing I'm a big believer in is be the leader you seek. So if you don't send out little newsletters to your team, or you're sort of thinking, oh well, once I've got a decent team, I'll make sure I get along to our local meetings, then you're doing it the wrong way around. You should be getting along to your local meetings and showing your team members the importance of them. So you should be the leader that is, you're starting to team build, that you're kind of, if you like, you would inspire to be yourself, if that kind of makes sense. Okay, I mentioned a checklist. I've got a list of things that I don't go through all of these personally, but it's like, for me, whenever I have a new team member join, I just go through this list myself. So I make sure I've got written down or on my system their name, address, account number, when they joined, where their source came from, because that helps me in my lead generation, how many catalogues they started with, and all these things there. Send them a welcome letter, and I just kind of tick them off as I go through. And it's just by having it in a checklist, by having them all in a checklist, it just makes sure that I don't forget something, if that makes sense. Sorry, I've just seen Colin there asking a question about if there are any problems. I just wanted a quick heads up again. Can everybody still hear me okay? Yeah. Oh, great. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Julie. Cool. Okay, thanks, guys. Right, so as I said earlier, I'm not going to stay on this page a lot, and you don't all have to have exactly the same checklist as me, but it's just, if you have got a list that you're going through, as you become more and more experienced as a team leader, and you start to find it would be useful to have something else that you send to people, add it to your list, and that way you won't forget it again. And so, as well as your new team member tracking their progress, you should be tracking your PSG as well, your own progress. And this is just a great way, if you're aiming for gold, or you're looking to get 10 active wide to build up a big income from your own PSG, then it's important that you track that. So just things like, how many active distributors have you got in your team? How many new distributors are you bringing in? How many serious distributors are there in there? And your kind of definition of who's a serious distributor will vary, but it just kind of gives you an idea of, not so much, you can sponsor as many people as you want, but if the people that join just don't get started, or you don't seem to be getting many serious people in amongst them, then maybe some of your support and training needs to be looked at a little bit. And how many sales, what sales have you achieved in your PSG, in your group? And that's just, if you're hoping to grow your business, then here are some of the indicators of is your business growing? If you're bringing in lots of distributors who are placing orders, who are serious, who are contacting you, who are talking about team building themselves, then you're on track for having a good business and a good PSG. And in the words of Jim Rohn, and I'm a big believer in this, you're just looking for measurable improvement in reasonable time. And these are all just things you can measure. What were your bulk sales? You know, how many new distributors have you brought in? Okay, so we're kind of getting towards the end now, so it's a few quick questions for people. Can you remember how many serious people you should be aiming to get in your team to build a good, strong business? Oh, look, you guys have all been paying attention. Fantastic. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Yep. Well, 5 serious people. The idea behind the 5 is, for those of you who understand the Kleeneze terminology, if you've got 5 people and they all get to gold level, that gets you to SED, which is senior executive distributor level, which is a really great place to have a good, strong, growing business. So 5 serious people is a good goal to aim for. Hey, aim for 5. Okay, you have a new starter. How often should you be calling them in the first week? Daily, every day, daily. Oh God, you guys are so good. You're so easy to teach because you all pay attention. Hey, every day in their first week. Very good. Okay, so you've obviously been paying attention. I feel like I'm teaching you guys to suck eggs here because you're all so good. But so this is just what we've been through. Understanding that not everybody who joins your business will stay. Just making sure that you understand, how to chat to them in the first 7 days, because that can make a huge difference. And understanding some of the early problems that they might have, and you should be able to go through that with them because you probably went through exactly the same problems when you first started. Helping them to keep track, taking them along to their first meeting, and just having a little checklist that you go through. So Andy, your question, this particular one isn't repeated every week, but we have a webinar every week. I hope that will make a bit more sense in just a moment, if you bear with me. So this is the list of 8 webinars that I run. The one that we've just had was number 5, which is all about supporting your new team members. Last week was about getting started, building team members. The first 3 were on the catalogue and retail side. The next 3 are all about you yourself. So there's a limit to what you can do with your own catalogues, but to be honest, building your business, and that's more about building yourself, growing your own skills. And then I expand on that a little bit with good ideas for setting goals and your own attitude, how that can play a big difference. And then a bit more about personal development before we start all over again in 1, 2, 3 weeks' time, all about getting started. So, had a few questions tonight about are these archived? Hey, Helen and Rich, that's perfect. Our timing is absolutely spot on. So, there you go. There are 8 webinars. They're all on YouTube. So if you just go onto YouTube and do a search on Chris Smith Kleeneze, or type in that link exactly if you want to, but if you just type in Chris Smith Kleeneze, you'll find me. Basically what I do is every time that we've recorded one of these, I put it on, and then I replace the one from 8 weeks ago. Alright, I'm just going to stop the recording now, guys.